声音测试。然后昨天的直播设定我是把那个游戏的直接输出音量调小，然后想说反正看看这样跟麦克风就耳机的麦克风搭的话，声音会不会比较刚好？可是后来刚刚看了一下，就变成麦克风的声音还是很小声，然后有些声音也变得超级无敌小声的，所以那我还不如就是吸着麦克风算了。所以我后来刚刚在 YouTube 上看到一个就是教学，它可以从 OBS 里面调设定，然后就是等于说把你的置入音效这边加个外挂，然后做增益。所以我现在就是用麦克风加外挂，然后游戏声音就让它自然跑这样。好，然后我们昨天反正就是虫的任务已经跑差不多了，还要去找骷髅，然后跟那多聊一下好了。
So nice to see you again.
You know, to hell with it. Let's have more cryptids.
Of course, officers. Is there a particular cryptid you two are interested in learning about? That would be the giant of Kokonur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes. A mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision. The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Who here? No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur Desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
我比较在意的是说，他说这个沙漠有重力异常，所以代表说他们世界的重力有可能不是每个地方都一模一样的。
Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Cryobacter catlensis. Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kutla on the Boreal Plateau by renowned geologist Caitlin Mijanou some 70 years ago. The bacterial colony Mijanou found had remained alive while frozen in ice for longer than anyone could reliably estimate, certainly from before recorded history. Mijanou disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. Yes, the bacteria had survived in the ice since times immemorial. It is not hard to see where she could have gotten the idea.
It's actually a little hard to see, but do go on.
不是我在说，他们讲话后面都有一个很像法国的那种口音。
Yes, and she's quite mad, too. After she treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became increasingly eccentric and irascible, so that even her oldest friends were forced to pull away. We can assume that she has been living somewhere in the wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the Cryobacter catlensis coursing through her bloodstream. The gnome of Jeroma. Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and an ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom.
Pacify.
Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient?
I understand your skepticism, but that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are least likely to be found again. What an interesting question. And the answer is yes, there are.
Of course. All fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them.
It's the Col de Mamadakwa. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's precisely what it is. Self-replicating sound waves, invisible and intangible. The Col de Mama is very afraid of us, which makes it incredibly difficult to track.
Col de Mamadakwa can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translation. They're both quite lovely, aren't they? Although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mamadakwa makes, or rather is, such a high-pitched sound that other animals, including humans, can't hear it. It could be everywhere all of the time, and we wouldn't know.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animal be a sound?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound waves. But there's no evidence to support this theory. It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere. And we wouldn't know any better. It could be ringing all the days of our lives and nights. Plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 1920s, a group of areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who study birds, were trying out a new recording technology for capturing sounds outside the range of human hearing. When playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed random at first, but on closer examination were consistent with the waveforms of songbirds. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration patterns based on sound waves in a strictly delimited range of ultrasonic frequencies, even higher than those of the highest-pitched bat calls. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mamadakwa, after the Paracanassian name for the voice of God, which is said to be very silent. Mm-hmm. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't see them, they could distinguish among individual birds and even began to name some of them. Sequester, Time, Joscan, those are but some of the Mamadakwa they followed individually. That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in their enthusiasm for the project, and no doubt because they were preoccupied with impressing their professors, nearly drove it to extinction. They tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequencies they thought might match the Mamadakwas. And what happens when a sound wave meets another sound wave of the same frequency, dear?
Psst. They cancel each other out. Psst.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency, well, they wiped out most of the population. After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of anomalies similar to those spotted in Ea, but they've been few and far between. It's impossible to confirm the presence of any stable Mamadakwa population anywhere.
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsifiability. I like the story, though, ma'am.
I'm glad you did, dear. What about what? Of course, dear.
Oh dear. OK， 然后我要去找 Kuno。
Fuck does Kuno care? No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs.
So he knows locusts are bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, see.
Now they're gonna take you to lame prison! Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
There's definitely something going on here. Remember his pig's head shack? You should check it out.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Fucking care.
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising. Accommodations for their insectoid inhabitants.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well. Yes, I feel we are nearing a real breakthrough. If anything, the presence of the locust points to the opposite. The phasmid did not take the bait from the traps. It was Kuno. The phasmid doesn't exist. But what do I know?
Use your powers of deduction. You knew the magic bug was nowhere near here. The phasmid is impairing your judgment.
I'll let you handle the Kuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
我觉得他们把那个金的设立弄得很讨喜，有超级有一种无奈的感觉。为什么我跟着这个疯子走来走去？ Hey, Kuno.
Fuck does Kuno care? Yeah. Kuno took the bugs. So what? It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends.
Stop!
You stop. It's like their fucking night. Locust City, Night City, City of Rage.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his imagination. The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort.
Maybe I am.
Did he just say I? Kuno usually calls Kuno, Kuno.
Oh my God, Kuno! He's
说
gonna
了
make
5
you
次没赶紧
scream
看
lame
的
in
台
like
词。
3 seconds. Don't let him, Kuno.
Yo, fuck you, see? Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free. Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a... Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno. You'll have to take me away.
Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. C was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence, just long enough to make eye contact with Kuno. She doesn't know whether to be glad because Kuno's finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first-person singular. Kuno is Kuno, not I.
It don't mean anything. It's shit. Kuno just likes to focus. Kuno likes to concentrate on shit. Build shit when he's zipping hard. Fuck. Pig, you really shouldn't have fucked with Kuno City. Now it's all fucking lame. Kuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps? Huh.
蝗虫的英文，蝗虫的英文怎么说？
He recognizes the name.
Bitches think Kuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Kuno's tired of this shit.
Locust， 跟莲花好像。Locust。
As you leave, you notice his usual rooster-like swaying posture has changed. Slowed down, like clockwork unwinding.
Fuck does Kuno care? Kuno doesn't...
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. A new trap design, that is. I know you're skeptical, but I have a good feeling about this. So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. A hidden worry.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
He has a 38-degree fever. His resilience has given way.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
要不然我还要再去放一次笼子吧。
You're right, you're right. We can come back next season when it's warmer.
You can? Fine. It's better than having these people get pneumonia on the coast. But after this...
He wants to see this tale through as much as you. Otherwise, he'd have stopped this already. But he cannot let it drag out after this.
Really? It's too much, officer.
What Morel means is we're grateful for your help.
Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but,
天哪，那我这样拿地球。蝗虫，有没有一些近一点的任务可以顺便先解一下？我觉得我要先去确认一下，到底是谁。我怀疑他到底是谁，我是怀疑这个人运主还是另一个人是个胖子吧？我记得。
Looking for something, Hunt? Come to tell me. Oh, not much anymore. Apples.
Apples is exactly the kind of thing you...
Look. Oh, I'm here.
Koiko may be another derogative. For a person from...
Yep, it's...
In fact, Yekokata is a desolate...
Yeah? Says... Then, I guess...
He means the...
Yeah, you know, Grandnix. Cause that's... Hey, if the name and description fit... did you miss a part?
Relax. You've got all you can get here. He probably does...
对，是这个胖子。不要再看我的车了。Joyce.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? The lorries are still stuck at the roundabout. If the police is asking, one of the drivers might admit to it. The two might even be connected.
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm eager to hear it.
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you. Yes? Excellent. According to my... It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
就快要我根本还没接任务了。这快点啦！
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up? Ah, man. Me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man? Hey, man, that's serious criminal talk. Are you trying to pull some sort of an entrapment thing on me?
Entrapment is a practice whereby an officer of the law induces a person to commit a criminal offense that the person would have otherwise been unlikely to commit, usually through some trickery, persuasion, or fraud.
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration. Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire.
Right. 是你吧？就是你吧？
Looking for something, Hunt? Drugs? They're shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage. Not in, not out. I'll never betray the purity of my tribe.
So you're telling us that you don't know anything about drug smuggling through Terminal B?
I don't know shit. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking around at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved this country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some kip boys smashed his luck and took damn near everything. Lost his fucking job over it. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to.
If they were getting drunk inside the Whirling in Rags, how could they know who broke into the lorry?
What? Aren't we allowed to say that it's the kips who do all the stealing around here? That's not road to science, man. Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. Of course he's a lorry driver. What? He tell you he's just some simple businessman or some shit? He's selling his employer's stuff after he broke the seals on his Humanux lorry. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. He's your man, all right? 100%.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang himself has to say.
我在想他怎么可以有办法让我找3个司机，明明就只有2个。
Actual art degree.
然后他的 art figure 是一个炸掉的。
Milk toast, amateurish, infantile, cliché and gonorrhea-ridden peon to conformism. I fucked me. Affront to humanity. War crime. Should literally be tried for war crimes. Resolutely shit. Lacking in imagination. Uninformed reimagining of lip wrist.
我不知道它的被动跟是什么时候会发生呢？我点它下去吗？
You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep browsing those clothes. Keep saving that economy.
The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them. They're the star of the show here.
The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime, officer.
我觉得可以买那个鞋子啊，买那个鞋子好了。
The speakers below.
Super cool.
The sneakers seem to vibrate in your hands.
The junk is yours, officer. Happy listening. Try not to... Everything's still cool here, officer. Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. A lot of the coolest detectives do drugs. Sadly, I don't have any drugs on sale, or at my home, or on my person. That's even cooler. You investigating that and all. But I am not a lorry driver. I'm just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole. I'm...
Realizing he can't get out of it. Smart man.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. No! That's insane. It's the fat hater. He's been eyeing me for a week and he sent you here. Maybe he's the one, huh? Have you thought about that? Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd.
Shush, please. There's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please, don't get me into this mess. I spent 15 years working my way up.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady.
Interesting. Could this driver be connected to the Hardy Boys?
I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved.
He's not ruling her out.
All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now?
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. I don't know. I'm not local. I don't know anything about that. All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it.
Start with a little compliment, then work your way up from there. This is about business, remember.
Oh, okay. But why, officer?
After all this mess, the broken seals, lying to you, come on.
An investment? What kind of investment? I guess it can't be any riskier than speculating in exotic derivatives. How much are we talking about here? But officer, I don't have that kind of money. There's got to be a more modest investment. 10 real is a bargain for that kind of investment. You got it, my man.
Lady. Where is the girl? 我先看看到底会把那个音响给慢一点。Hello.
If you don't mind, please put the flashlight away. Some of us have photonic sensitivities.
Photonic sensitivity is not generally acknowledged by the medical establishment.
I do appreciate it.
我还得先把
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Sure, let me have a look. All right, let's see it. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't need bloodthirsty mercenaries knocking on my door looking for their missing toys. Besides, this gear costs a fortune. There's no one in Martinez with that kind of money. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
哎，等一下，我都快忘记我的枪的事情了。我现在要当司机。我刚才在想，我的枪是就是被那个女的给拿走了吗？ 给你。
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Where am I? Who are you? Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. The men have small jaws and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber? Back in Mecca, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Buendero. Until you came along, that is. This is Gabriel Buendero.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen. And schoolboys used to memorize all of his lines.
In all likelihood, it's a world that's only ever existed in her mind.
Someone was. They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They're beautiful. That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. And they will win. They're coming for this, you know? All of this.
All of what? The world? The present?
I wasn't dreaming. I was there, Loman. It was early spring, and the man behind the black sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden. While you, people, were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution, in Methk, it was a golden age.
The Republic of Mesk is a massive confederation on the Isola of Muindi, the world's largest state by territory. It's a petrostate, a constitutional monarchy, and, as of recently, an outcast due to its tilt to the far right.
中东石油国家。
Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole. Diamonds? Of course not. But wouldn't it be marvelous if I was? Whatever stupid things they put in the lorry, I imagine. I quit concerning myself with that a long time ago. Besides, I don't drive the lorry for the cargo, if you know what I mean. Then it's contraband, Loman. What? Do you want to take an old woman in? Be my guest. Lock me away like Bad Hand Hermenegildo.
Bad Hand Hermenegildos's bad hand strangled 300 people. What can I say? Some people just really like strangling people.
What do I need drugs for, Loman? What I see, what I feel, the great adversary, no drugs can compare. If you don't know,
Maybe if she thought you're corrupt.
who the fuck is Irrat? Ah, and what do I care about the union boss? He's no Gabriel, he's no Franco Negro, he's not even Hermenegildo the Hand. Maybe, probably not. Makes no difference to me either way. Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramiriza to Grad, on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramiriza to Grad, Loman? No, Loman, diamonds. Easy is the skinny man who thinks he's a poet. Never trust a poet. Also, he's the only one I can see from here.
That's correct. There is no visibility of any of the others.
Where do you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, or the seagulls. Look at all the colors and the futures of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, this jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will, to the Great Plains.
I think we're done here, no? She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her get back to her things.
So he doesn't think she's the lady driver?
You hear that, Loman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me. Some of them are like home to me now. I would say the routes I drive are usual to me. Lomonosov's Land, Udachnaya Zemlya, the Western Plain, the Transcatlia Magistral, U41A, Autostradas do Mirador, all the good ones, the deep trenches, where the bluebirds fly. You're right, Loman. I'm the one who should take my health more seriously. Thank you for looking out for me.
A correct appraisal. You're quite shabby.
Is that all you woke me up to say? Did you just call me a lady, Herife? I'm not that either, Herife. I've gone too far from it all to remember what was between my legs. It doesn't... I'm only terrifying to small children, and to those who used to know me.
Yeah, it's not her. Believe me.
Because they can no longer recognize the person I once was. The big ones, the trucks. There's no women and men there, it's all just... In the middle of this town, there's a ghostly motorway. It takes all the people where they want to stay.
In the background, a quiet song seeps from her cabin into the air. You don't hear any vocals.
How should I know? Do I look like I spend a lot of time with the other communers sniffing around, when I have my movies to go to? Oh, Sim.
Something in her is pulling towards some unknown rest state. She twitches, like a sleep kick.
And what is that?
Great. He asked the Pines rep about the bail, and now he's talking to everyone about it. Fine then. Just try not to black out again, and don't contemplate. We don't have time for that.
It's death, but for the universe, oh, we're contemplating the living shit out of this.
Exactly what I didn't want you to do. Ma'am, my partner wanted to know if you work in Pale Transport.
No offense, but your partner seems like a bit of an idiot. Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Segúreme, Paraíso. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even the things I never knew. The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot, in the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation, on the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Day was shot. The look on her face, like an orgasm. the wound in her chest, my hand in my father's hand. Except I never had a father, and I never shot her innocence Dolores Day. Heroic doses, Hervé, heroic. Thought insertion, dithering, the Grad Catalan Magistral? It's more than dangerous, it's sad. But at first I had to make a living. Now, when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this, what are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor. Like looking into the ocean at night, in the dark. You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined. Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets in the electric light. It smells like autumn too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
In the belly of an airship, behind the steel windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it. No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
The wheels all small and round, multi-axle trailers.
Yes.
No elaboration.
They say there is a point, one that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south? It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pale drivers. Way beyond the established Pale that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark. And the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from.
In the center of this town, there's a ghostly motorway, she sang.
No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning. I've only felt it in the distance, when I was a child. A child rowing on the lake. Josiana.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. She is receding in the clutches of some indescribable scattered emotion. A child descending.
You've fried both your brains enough for today, detective. Let's get some air. This one's far gone.
应该是加新式的。 所以等于我问的全都没用，还是他最可以。
Looking for something, Aunt? Come to tell me to fuck off again? I don't know what you're talking about. Listen up, fuckwits. You don't scare me. You cops don't run Evashol West. You don't run Martinez. You don't run anything.
No. He means La Puta Madre.
A legendary, and not in a good way, crime boss from Jamrock. Controls what is probably the most powerful organized crime outfit in Revachol West.
Yeah, him.
Then I presume you are familiar with his peonies.
Yeah, they're his little bitches. He's got them all over the unions.
Not just the unions. He has peonies everywhere. Some say he even has them in the RCM. Dirty fucking peonies who do anything for him. Multi-ethnic drug addicts.
The lieutenant adopts a rodentine quality. Be cool, sire. He's getting into this.
You're not peonies. You wouldn't be investigating a drug thing if you were.
No, of course not. We are not peonies. But if we were, and one of Madre's drivers were to be stealing from him, then it's a good peony's job to find out who that is.
He's surprisingly good at this. Not bad at all. Look at him lurching.
It's not a hard job. It won't take a long time. It won't make Padre Madre angry. But a stupid fucking racist is standing in the way, protecting this fucking thief.
I'm not scared of you or the mob. I'm under the protection of the Lorryman and Carter's Guild.
You've seen that corpse in the ceramic armor there. Did his shitty little guild protect him?
Nah, you wouldn't just leave him out there if you...
The lieutenant turns and gives you a barely perceptible nod. Be careful. This man's still got some fight in him, by the looks of it. It won't be easy to break him. The main thing is to not overdo it, even when you're trying to scare someone. The most important thing is, how does it look on your resume?
What? What do you think we're doing right now, Runt? We're outside, talking. There's some kind of homo thing? Make me, Runt.
We'll just have to ask someone else about the lady driver. Let's go.
生衣柜，我有加以生衣柜的东西吗？生衣柜有剪的。对。
Looking for something, Aunt? Come to tell me to fuck off again?
Failing the last time was so demoralizing.
Looking for something, Aunt? Come to tell me to...
Men like this only respect two things: strength and fear.
Fuck you, I told you. I'm not gonna...
There. His voice grows smaller as yours.
Look, fuck you, man. It's some lorry down there. Green banged up thing. I don't fucking know who she is.
When did she go away?
I don't know. I don't even know her name. She just rolls with the fleet and acts like a big shot. Some dyke, probably. I haven't even seen her for days. Past the monument. Down there. The Green Temple. Now, leave me the fuck alone, okay?
A small temple by the monument. Green. Let's get into that lorry.
Now it's turning into a kind of a snow limbo.
This screen found, A to Z, contemporaire, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This must be the one he told us about, unless he was lying.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of the seat and two steering levers. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced. There's no picking this lock. The owner has put special care into it. It's a recessed design.
Use the pry bar to smash the window. Open it from the inside. This has been hard enough. No need to make it any harder.
Oh my goodness. 强生，居然现在可以让我做红色判定。强生。我是再去买几件衣服。
You keep coming back. That's good, officer. Keep browsing those clothes, keep saving that economy. Gotta prepare for springtime. The shine on these sunglasses lasts a lifetime. A good starter pair of...
Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for them.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. You keep coming back.
You find your...
Economical, but...
typical Martinez street lights. All the old... You see rows of toy soldiers. They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and...
This is what the loyalists...
Which ones?
衣服给买了。 现在抢剩多少？抢先3，感觉可以跟你们买衣服吧。
That rider. Hey, piss. Look who it is. Shrunken cophead material.
剩衣柜，然后疑神疑鬼。
That rider's fucking lightning. Hey, piss. Look who it is. Shrunken cophead material.
原来是白色的检定，就再拼几次。如果没有过的话，就去旋转。
This screen found A to Z, content prybar in hand. Looks like the window might be shatterproof. You may have to rethink your approach.
No, it's not shatterproof. Give me that.
He smashes it into the window. Droplets of glass fly everywhere, shattering over the lorry floor and pavement. You can...
It went better than I expected. Open it from the inside.
The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. The actress is draped in a sheathed dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. This is Tip Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world, and the camera, too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard, and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system. These formulas look oddly painful. Maybe it's the hangover, but they give you a headache.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique? Yes? Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Now we know for certain who's the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? We should see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. The radio transmitter sits on the center console and a faint smell of perfume is in. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least.
It has to be an advanced model to fit so many frequencies next to each other without blending them together.
For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least, perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without the dial key. No, that's on 78.9. What? I happen to have committed the frequency to memory. I have no problem admitting that.
The smell of 1,000 sick echoes the rusty old lorry.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce?
我好像不太喜欢 Joyce。
All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the ULAN frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks.
Listening in on your calls between you and your station, a worrying prospect.
And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for. Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them to other ends, as extra ammunition.
Meaning, someone as slippery as Everard won't be caught by a couple of cops and some stuff they found in some cabin.
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well... As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well... Debrief of...
吃得到。 就要先打，可以先打个电话去。
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? 57.
In the cabin, you see.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. Like hell you have. There is no local drug trade. This place is as clean as a rifle. Go back to Jamrock and ask the local junkies how clean your streets are in Precinct 41 kilos.
We'll do that. In the meantime, did you know that there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that was used to move raw ingredients for drugs from Terminal B to Jamrock? The person driving it was present at the hanging. It was one of you. We've connected the footprints. Detective, do you want to deliver the coup de grâce?
The thought forms in your head, like a lightning strike branching in the sky.
Thank you. You're right, Titus. There is no local drug trade, because it's all controlled by you. You're the drug trade.
That's a mighty interesting theory. I guess that's what you would need to do, theoretically. A big, strong, state-run monopoly would outcompete the runts on the street.
Yeah, man. Theoretically, that's what you would do. To get rid of the gangs, the dealers, even some of the junkies.
You would need good, trustworthy people to take their place, of course. Hardy men to run such a monopoly. For the good of the community, of course. Boo fucking who. People will always be taking drugs. Might as well do it clean and organized.
Yeah, that's what the labor movement is all about. Clean and organized. And the Hardy Boys are running it.
Theoretically, of course. We're just talking politics here. My answer to your drug accusation is, how dare you? Go fuck yourself.
Not quite yet, Mr. Hardy. There were 8 sets of prints on the crime scene. There are only 7 Hardy Boys here.
My answer is, fuck off. Mind your own business. There is no 8th Hardy. I run this goddamn scene.
And here we go. Back to the usual.
I know! Fatty walked on all 4s. He's so fucking fat he left 2 sets of footprints.
Despite everything, the little man is quick on his feet.
That's more like it, boys. You heard him. It was Angus on all 4s. Anything else you need to know?
A witness? You ain't got shit. The locals would never come to you with this.
That's just cop tactics, Titus. Next, he's gonna tell you one of us already roll on the others, and he's in witness protection.
Well, let's hear it then. Who is your mystery fella?
He's not alarmed by the sudden appearance of a witness, but he is surprised. This goes without saying, but nonetheless, don't give out his name.
Yeah, right. Like we wouldn't know if an MI plant was in our town. Nice try, right?
MI is short for Moral Intern. Moral Intern is short for Moralist International, the coalition that runs Revachol.
I've seen this shit a million times, Titus. Fly fishing. They are desperate. Tell us, Copper, what wacky claims did he make?
It's you assholes that feel the need to go around like a fucking brass band. The Hardy Boys are dead silent.
Yeah, it's like they put cowbells on you before they send you to the streets. What's with the cowbells, policeman?
They're avoiding having to answer this question.
We were drinking, weren't we, guys? I hit the bottle hard. I was drunk as fuck.
Right, I'm convinced, Glenn. Nothing off here. Just a regular hanging.
Aaron Bagite? Boss, I think he's trying to save me and Theo.
Well, yeah. What is confusing you? Eugene, Theo, and Elaine were there too. I already told you. We were all there.
Those flaccid MI cocks with their culture language. Everything's a surreal play or sublime whatever.
It means the whole scene was long and drawn out, like it was from a film.
What is this fella's problem? Sorry we didn't make it more action-packed. It wasn't the first thing on our minds, you see?
Shanky. It's Shanky, right? I thought there's something wrong about the lynching story. Now I know there was.
You don't know shit.
I know you are lying, Shanky.
Some witness. I pulled the same shit. Came up with some shit, then went and said it to people. Get a reaction. Don't have to go to cop school to try that.
You don't have to go to school for shit. I never went to school and I'm doing great.
You're doing a hell of a job, man. Hell of a job.
Okay, maybe it doesn't feel like this did anything to them, but they have to be fretting a little. Everyone is afraid of witnesses. Witness is a scary word. So much bluster to hide the fact that they're uncomfortable with you having this info.
所以我还是可以树立权威，然后最后才有办法威胁他们。就是说我还要回现场再看一下。觉得强身健体好值得点一下。
Fuck does Kuno care? Yeah? The kingdom of Kuno? Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a the fuck about it. Your test.
Get lost!
Kuno doesn't.
Care. No, he doesn't care.请打理。有通情达理的 装备，嘣嘣。
You're back. Good. Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologise for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give them a read on the entire quarter.
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
所以基本上就是整体的事件的缘由还是这个罢工行动。那这罢工行动就是背后有靠人用毒品的资助。那因为董事会就是他派的那个佣兵，所以才会导致我们进入这个佣兵的谋杀案。
Who are they exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, they wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenel contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
It'll be all of them. The decision is already made. Investigation upon investigation here in Martinez, racing towards some dark deadline.
It is very far from disco. My only hope is that you provide a single, concrete suspect before the mercenaries indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in less than 4 hours.
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all.
The muzzle loaders need to be reloaded after every 1 or 2 shots. The automatics every 1 or 2 minutes.
As I said, a bloodbath.
It appears you found it, yes, and I'm not happy for you.
Many bleak scenarios have already come true, Lieutenant W. Frater Dubois. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman-Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes, all the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I would be dealing with a group like Crenel. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors. Their tribunal. It's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe. If you mean did I see him alive, yes, but I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on. She passed.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40 or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age or gauge his facial expressions.
Indeed, this matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think we're vigilantes, ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
但重点是现在这两个人这样子。
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a shortwave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence.
It was taken with a trigette not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points, the stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century, over 300 years ago. The sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption, to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Seminoles Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Interinsulary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
Vredefort? Vredefort has a military academy. The Seminoles Islands saw a recent conflict. In Revachol, he was executed.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for an adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
His platoon members? The other contractors, though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Surely there are other people to ask about the tattoo. This is not necessary to complete the task, officer. It's a dangerous side task. Search elsewhere.
Do what you have to do, Detective Dubois. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security, but if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help?
Tremble. The time is now. Ta'ola. Time for the show. For Ta'ola. The hallowed time of fear and disintegration. A countdown has begun. All will collapse on itself. The world will disappear into a single grain of blackness. All sound will be muted. All life will scream. Ulogu Theodos, Xeno Zausin, Ipoli Osidhian, Echondes Fronisin. Monday morning, the moment you arrived in this reality, are the first crack in the sheer face of God. From you it will spread. Yes, you spoke the words of the Palindropos and the houses of Pericarnassus. Items, people, even words will tumble. All will lose its meaning in the coming years. That is why you marked yourself. It's totally also a coping mechanism. The face of the woman fractures. There will be herd killing. We all become vapor.
新的为什么只要信任任何主义都会捡能言善道啊？能言善道，还好我能言善道超高的，所以我越不中立的话，那几个是。有一种该不会其实有一点接近结局的感觉吧，因为毕竟主要事件就是要调查凶杀案，所以我先去把虫给死了，然后再去问刺青。我现在在想，那个旅店死的该不会就是那个被害者
The locusts aren't doing all too well.
空的好像是在靠继续有个河岸的任务啊。放虫，这边我觉得也可以把那个 disco 的任务跟跑一下，这边吧，我记得。
Morel's trap stands. The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good, now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
Oh, 去一下教堂。 我觉得其实这种游戏很难违背你的本心做事情，对我来说啦。有些人就会觉得反正就是游戏，就那个没了哦。有些人就觉得游戏然后就可以，他们就觉得随便乱点无所谓，而我就是不知道，就是有点在做心理测验的感觉。但你其实很难真的走那种很极端主义。
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open.
Let's go.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city.
刚还以为那个是什么 loading 画面。
A machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
Another radio computer. And this time it's already turned on. We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. It's also quite similar to the one we have down at the station. Must be the same model.
The one you saw earlier was the Ream Civic. This is the Ream Prefect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Fell mainframe and a Ream-compatible interim printer. The Ream Prefect is the governmental version of the commonly used Ream Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the Ream Prefect is equipped with better noise attenuation circuits. You see fluorescent play buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped glasses. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says, in black marker, log. February to March. Another filament memory. Press play to talk with the repeater. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
It's the same old woman you spoke with through the radio computer in the doomed commercial area.
Good, thank you. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer.
Received.
That sounds bad. A login attempt. Something.
Fortress Accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play and print buttons. Nothing happens.
有些机。通情达理。
The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. And then it's gone. Almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. It seems the sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. Sounds like the Pale. From recordings of the Far Pale. You've heard them. We all have. You can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total, somehow. Your voice is barely audible. Not a howl, but the softest of whimpers. It's unnerving. The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything? The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
Maybe the church was designed this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises.
Could be.
He doesn't seem entirely convinced, though. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. The silence, the darkness, they've enveloped you as in a cocoon. You cannot move anymore. Relax. It'll be okay.
他强制我一定要
Just darkness without end. It makes your head spin. Filled with vague shapes of woodwork, the sense of a great height. There's nothing. You're dizzy and disoriented as you see dark and more dark rising.
Officer, what are you looking at?
You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark. Maybe it's possible to talk to it. Is that a man? Looks more like part of the carpentry of the building came alive and is now studying you intently. The Crab Man. The man leaned forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. You come to...
That accent is Villalobos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamro. There's a sizable contingent of Villalobos-speaking Mesks in Revachol.
Here you could receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
Hey, and what was that about, the bottle again? You haven't even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Shish.
Está crudo, way. I see deep inside you. Your body and your spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence, and you don't even know it. I was like you once, just dragging my feet to the next bottle. Shit was dark, Holmes.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
The grave's coming for your little identity sooner than you think, Holmes. You sure you're ready? The mother could set you free from all that shit. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? Whatever it is, he's quite confident about it. Just look how gracefully he sways. 'Tis not an act, my liege, save him perchance he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot.
Other spoker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
Viejita is grandma?
No, I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. That's what I said, Holmes. Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests. I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer.
Too many times, Essay. You need it for something.
Surveys are a good way to fish for personal information, especially in the name of public safety.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death. What you think of that? Makes me almost pity la niñita pequeña when I hear it. The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them, think they scared of me. Nah, man, they look pretty funny, and I don't harm no one anymore, anyway.
Though we used to, a long time ago.
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company. I think we're done here, Essay.
However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play. The speaker comes to life.
Good afternoon. Surprise accident. Good. Please repeat. Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Surprise accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing fluorescent play. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while. Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. See? Ridden with narcotics, just like Andre said. 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
For setting up a radio computer. 8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading. I think these people worked in the radio computer games business, the one we saw in the Doom commercial area. They must be our former co-workers.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. It swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the Swallow is real, and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence, with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them, no ripples. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work. That disco man must be a cell.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. I got a call from the repeater station. Someone has tried to access the radio computer in our old office in Martinez. Can't do anything about it. The storekeeper still doesn't want to let me inside the building. Thinks I'm part of some kind of curse. How Martinez of her.
I knew it wasn't a good idea to meddle with that machine.
No. It was a great idea. You're learning things. This is how you learn things about machines. March 51. A new 2-meter aux cable. Noodles. Crackers. Ping energy drinks. Water. Toothpaste. Gum. Also some canned air. I was interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange woman makes straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
Yes, you are breaking in, but not into her radio computer. You're a master circuit bender.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
Well, you won't find any music venue organizers here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. Cold wind seeps in from the crack in the glass. Snowdrifts cover the floorboards at your feet. Above, you feel her multicolored eyes on you, inspecting you. The woman looks down at you standing there. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. As that soft word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times as you stand in the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles, her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records. It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Revachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago, where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
Hello， 好，我的机没电了。Rush。
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. Perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. In a way, an innocence is elected to office by the founding party, a precedent that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built from the ground up to accommodate an authentic rule should it coincide with our time. An innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway? Only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. An innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honor and a glory to live when one is in office. No, we are alone. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, by explorers from the continent of Muindi, she is, among other things, the innocence of inter-isolary travel and the connected world. 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this, many things, you know she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential Marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene La Navigateur, Queen of Suresnes, modern-day Sir La Clé, also that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Terribly, women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A simple grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She made the most of her position in the anti-DeLorean court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's preeminent philosopher of the state. A scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was an almost preternaturally magnetic and intelligent individual. To her contemporaries, she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future of the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. It was on her advice that Irene La Navigateur sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale. A costly, often tragic endeavor, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history, the DeLorean era. Wow, indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. As did we all, the lands of the Mess and the Occident, and even faraway Supremwindi, altogether 21 of the 40 Mundial nations of the time, immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning. In a city called Advesperaskit in Vesper Messina, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza with the crowd far away. Already, her Theriers, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by as her Theriers placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by secret servicemen. One of the men in this secret service killed her 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else. Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves, the man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes, while on duty, he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. This inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to mass hysteria and religious psychology. Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it. But although she is often considered to be the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her Theriers. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the Innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Marguerite were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it are not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the color of the Pacentic, mare interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role. which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography.
Lieutenant Yefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? Yes, glowing lungs are quite unusual. After that one time, they have not been reported to glow. You know, this church, the coast, we shouldn't linger. Finish what you came here to do and let's move on. This isn't a good place to get lost in.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text, a light motif below them both. Unknown. A motor carriage, a gunshot, someone falling into it, or maybe just hooligans looking for something to break. The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole. Small figures of wise men, common men, worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, farriers, stand in a row guarding her. It must have... Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau. And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau. After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this Isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however. It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing. Justice, union, prudence, and force. Eyes cool.
The mother of humanism towers above you, a wax painting.
我死定了。先这样吧，可以。对。